Okay, so we've got a couple of Sony SixAxis controllers here. One is a bootleg, and there are dozens of these bootleg videos on YouTube now, showing you how to identify the difference between the two. A lot of them, however, I kind of realized they didn't really show the internal components all that much. They are actually getting better at making these. A lot of the original descriptions, like how these parts were shiny and the originals are not and stuff. It's almost kind of like the bootleggers are using these YouTube videos as critiques on how to make better bootlegs. About the only way you can tell the difference, other than when you play with them, they still have the crappy analog controls. I'm not a first-person shooter fan. However, at least not with these controls growing up on the keyboard and mouse. But what I noticed on was playing Stardust HD. You really couldn't pinpoint. You couldn't really be very accurate. It was almost more like an 8-way. However, there's still a couple of telltale signs that you can figure out if you've still got a bootleg. The PlayStation button here, the home button, it's kind of got a different feel to it, but the only thing that I've found so far that you can really tell is if you can see here, if you haven't been able to tell the difference yet, this one is our official Sony. This one is our bootleg, and if you look at the lights here on the official, they're flush, which you can kind of see that in the video. Where on the bootleg, they're not. They're subset. The other issue is, which they've gotten a lot better on these as well, is the labeling. Some of them, didn't have all this extra information here. They just kind of had a block that said blah blah blah, or it would indicate that it was Hong Kong or something. But as you can tell, the model numbers are exactly the same. All the information is exactly the same. However, the difference you can still tell. The barcode, the barcode here has kind of a foil, and the spacing, the wider spacing as described previously, where the bootleg, it's just white. And in fact, you can actually kind of tell that the label actually isn't even centered. So another telltale, other than the LEDs, is if you notice the 1 and 2s, they're getting better, but the 1 and 2s here, they have a matte finish on the original. The replacements, they're shiny. The 1 and 2 is shiny. I don't mean the actual buttons themselves. I just mean the 1 and the 2 here. You probably can't see it very well on the video, but looking at it in real life, you can pretty much tell. I had actually, my wife bought me these. She had bought me another couple, so my entire family could play Little Big Planet together. Which, for that, they work okay. It's not too bad. It's not one of those games where the precision is really needed, like not like in a flying game or first-person shooter or something to that nature. They work okay. My daughter had fallen down and had actually landed on the controller, and she broke one of the controllers, one of the analogs here. So I opened it up and I'm like, all right, cool, and I ordered a replacement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open these up, and we'll look at the internals. They both have 5 screws. They don't have the 6th screw anymore, like some of the older versions. So we're going to skip to the point to where these guys are open, and we'll take a closer look on the inside and see what we got going on. Alright, so we've got our 2 controllers open. Here is an original, and here is our bootleg. As you can see, the original has, it's got this this nice plastic bracket to keep the battery in place. It's also got plastic brackets for the rumble pack motors. The switches are both contained on the unit. Here's the bottom. There's pretty much nothing to it. A little rubber piece here that goes for the reset. But yeah, all in all, pretty good. So here's our bootleg. If you notice, the battery is held on with sticky tape. The cabling really leaves a bit to be desired. It almost looks like they used trash bag tie wraps, funny enough, to do the wiring for the buttons. The L2s actually stay in the bottom piece here. The rumble motors are held in with sponge tape. I guess it just does enough to do, I don't know, keep them in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn them down a little bit more. We'll look at the other side a bit, where these guys are located. Notice that here's your reset button right here. This is what that rubber piece goes, and here's your reset button for this. It's actually got a little plastic piece that slides over, so you've got something to push whenever you push something through the pinhole here. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn them down some more, see what else we got. We've got them apart all the way. I'm trying to use a light so you can see some of the little nuances. This is the original. This is the bootleg. I was hoping that the board would say, be as simple. The boards themselves would be as simple as, saying Sony on them, but they actually do not. Here is our buttons. Left button is the bootleg, and the right is the official. And let's get down to the nitty-gritty, I suppose. So here's our bootleg board. It's this is what all the buttons go on, where the official, you got the nice ribbon stuff. This is actually another board here. Once again, kind of a crappy wire that they're using, but what do you expect, $25 controller. Here you got actual ribbon cable and all that. So this is, when I first opened this up, I didn't have any experience with bootlegs. Didn't even think about it. My wife, they said Sony. My wife buys it. It's all good. But when my daughter broke it, basically what I did here, she broke this switch here. So what I'm gonna do right here real quick. All right. So we're gonna take this guy off here, like so. We'll take this one off here. We'll show you the difference here. And I'm also interested, so I'm just going to take one of them off for the originals. Okay, interesting. Okay, so here's my replacement switch. They come in 3 and 4 pin switches, so I didn't know which one I needed. So I opened it up the first time. I'm like, all right, cool, 3-pin switch, no worries. So I ordered one. The replacement switch is actually higher quality than the original switch. The original switch here is all plastic, and the replacement actually has some metal in it. When my daughter fell and hit, she had snapped it where the plastic piece that hits the L3 button over here had snapped off on the inside, and we couldn't even use it. So here is a original. It seems to be all plastic as well. However, these are 4-pin. which I'm presuming officials can use 3 or 4. I'm not sure. But the problem I ran in with this is the switch size was different. I actually had to... It wouldn't fit in the original holes. So what I had to do is I had to snip off the mounting and then go with just the solder on the switches, or where the switches go through the board, and I actually had to bend those to make them fit. So you can tell the obvious quality differences between the Bootleg and everything. So hopefully, you know, at least now we've seen some guts, and as the outsides are getting better and better, getting harder to spot, you know, the SixAxis does work on this. I tested it out with Mercury, new Mercury demo. So I don't know how well it works. I don't use the SixAxis a lot, but SixAxis function, that is. But you still do get the delay whenever you hit the home button, a few seconds before it actually powers on the PlayStation. At least now we've seen the inside. So I get to put these things back together now. Hopefully they'll both work. Well, at least hopefully my, you know, real Sony one will still work. But there you go, guys.